In this video, I'm going to turn him into Omni-Man. Curious to see how that's going to look. Stay tuned as I explain how I did it. Also, please don't forget to like the video and leave a comment. It really motivates me to create more content. With that said, let's load up Ibis Paint X. Here we are in Ibis Paint X. As always, let's start by adding our image to the canvas. Once that's done, we'll mask him out. If you'd like to learn how I cut out my images, check the link in the description. Now, as I look at it, Omni-Man's body is fully covered, and only his head is visible. So let's go ahead and remove the body too. For his body, I'll be using this 3D model I created with the Magic Poser app. Let's position it properly and match the perspective. Next, we'll use the Liquify tool to make him look bulkier. After all, Omni-Man is incredibly muscular. Now we'll use the smudge tool to smooth out the edges. Let's also decrease the saturation to get rid of the blue tint. It's time for some hair detailing. As you know, Omni-Man has gray hair on both sides. Let's paint in those gray streaks like this. Next, let's add some shadows. The light source is coming from the right side, which means we'll need to paint shadows on the left. I'm using a hard edge brush to paint the shadows where they would naturally fall. Once that's done, we'll adjust the opacity to make the shadows look more realistic. Using the smudge brush, I'll soften the edges of the shadows for a smoother finish. Don't forget to add a shadow on his nose, since it's blocking light from the right side. Now that the shadows are done, let's move on to adjusting the lighting on the body. Next, it's time to bring some life into his suit. Omni-Man's suit has a red design, so let's paint that onto his body. This is starting to look great. Let's extend the red design all the way across and make sure it's properly covered. Now let's check which blend mode works best. I think hard light looks good for now. We'll continue working on the rest of the design. For the O on his chest, I was considering typing an O and finding a matching font. This one looks great, so I'll paint it red. Using the Perspective Transform tool, let's make it look like it's part of the suit. Finally, we'll use the Liquify tool to refine its placement and remove any unnecessary areas. Let's paint the rest of them as well. For the cape, we'll use the same method and paint it. Now let's paint the folds on his body since he's wearing a tight suit, which would naturally create these folds. I'm also adding some shadows on the cape. Since the light is being blocked from the back because of the cape, let's paint some shadows on his arms. To give it a more 3D look, we'll paint a black line along the edge like this. We'll do the same thing on the O on his chest. Next, let's add some texture. I know it looks bad at first, but wait. We'll change the blending mode to soft light, reduce the saturation, and look at that. Now we have a beautiful texture. If we look here at his shoulder muscles, they appear very flat. So I'm going to paint some shadows in there like this. This will give it a more 3D appearance and make it look less flat. Finally, I'll smudge it to blend everything in nicely.